Welcome back. And now let's open it up to our panel of moms and get some real practical advice. So what ages did you start your kids in sports? And did you decide which sport they were going to be interested in, or did they kind of guide you towards that?
I think, sports started in our family right away. As soon as they were able to walk, we had balls at their feet or in their hands. Organized sports were about 4.5 to 5 years old. And at that point, we did direct. They're kind of young. Our job was to kind of start that exposure, start them in, for my girls, dance or gymnastics or soccer or whatever they could do at that age.
Yeah, same for us too. And as a family, we always went skiing. So 2 to 18 months old, I think we had my daughter on skis. So, just physical, fun activities as families. And then organized sports for sure came later when the Park and Rec would accept them. I think it was like 6 years old or something, or
You're like,
maybe
really?
even 5.
Come on.
Yeah.
Pretty much started mine out between 3 and 4 with the organized sports. I mean, obviously the informal stuff comes first, and it was always gymnastics was available for boys and girls then, and then move them into other sports based on their interests when they get a little bit older.
And our kids were about 4 years old as well when things would start, and so we played sports that our friends were playing and started that way just to see if the kids would be interested or not.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the positive reactions that you've seen with your kids as they've been involved in sports?
One of the most exciting things for me is to see the responsibility levels grow. So the kids have to learn to take care of their equipment, they have to take care of their water bottles. So I think having that responsibility is a really great thing for the kids to learn. But I also really love the sense of team that they learn. Mm-hmm. When it's organized sports, it's usually a team sport in our case. So they learn to get along with other people and to achieve a goal together, and I really like that.
Absolutely, and I think confidence it's an amazing thing. When they, accomplish something new, they've learned a new skill, and then they've been able to apply it. It's the coolest thing, because you can see it on their face, you see it when they come off the field or off the ice, or as a parent, you want nothing more than to see that effort become something, to turn into that action, and they feel it, and they become a little bit bigger and a little bit more confident and a little bit more willing to try, to keep going and try, to learn more things and
not necessarily just sports. It would just be like learning
life
new things.
lessons,
Right?
Absolutely, 100%.
That's great.
Right, I think a willingness to try new things and making new friends they wouldn't have made otherwise, and then learning not only that it's fun to win, but also learning how to be understanding if they lose, or just being able to accept that and talk about what that means, and we don't blame it on other people, and let's think about how things can be different, or let's try next time and hopefully be different.
So has anybody ever had to take their kids out of sports for any particular reason, like it's too much traveling, or it's too intense, or they're not getting along with their teammates, or anything like that?
We didn't have to take my child specifically out of that sport, but as a team, the parents, the coach, the manager, even the kids all decided as a team after 2 years of playing in this one particular organized traveling team that it was a little too intense for us. The practice on a Easter Sunday afternoon, it's not age appropriate. So as a whole team, everybody decided, okay, we're going to go away and we're going to do our own thing, go to a new tiny little soccer club. And this team, it's been great for us. The team has stayed together. We all know that in traveling soccer, you have to try out, and the kids get split up. They make new friends, and then they split up the next season. Well, what we did, and it turned out great, we were able to stay together, and she stayed together for 6 years with the same group of girls.
Wow.
So that's unusual. But
that is very unusual.
it takes the whole team and the parents to do that.
Right.
I never had to take anybody out of a sport, but I had to encourage them to stay in. If they agree with me, they'll try something, and then they have to understand that they're going to make it till the end of that session. They're not going to quit in the middle. That they're going to commit, even if they don't really like it, to being there through the end of whatever the session or number of games are.
So what, if anything, would you change in organized sports?
I think for organized sports now, it's how good can you be and how fast can you get there. So, there's practice, games, lots of games, and now they want it to run all year round. Well, for one, it's not good for anybody's bodies to be doing the same thing, for that amount of time. But I think the most important thing is I think we're forgetting to allow the kids to miss it. You need to miss it.
That's a really great point.
Oh my gosh, I remember jumping from, sport to sport and being so excited for the next thing.
Right.
And then being so excited to come back to that other thing. So the desire is what makes you good. You have athletic ability, but the desire to be that kind of a player or that kind of a swimmer or that kind of a skater, that comes inside, and that comes from missing it.
Right. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have something I'd like to change about organized sports. May I?
Yes.
All right. The thing I'd like to change about it is by the time the kids get to be 11 or 12, they need to be focused on a couple of sports. And then if they're not good enough to move to that elite level, they feel as though they can't continue in the sport and they end, and there's not really a lot of recreational opportunities for kids. They feel like if they're not good, then they can't play. And they kind of end their sports career when they could still be having a lot of fun and gaining almost all the same benefits if they continue to play.
Yeah, so it needs to be just a fun league. Yeah, so it's not as intense too, and that everybody can participate.
Changing that perception of the different levels in the leagues, because it's not realistic that everybody is going to be the top, but that's not the purpose of it, and they get so much more out of it than just that winning and the standings. And I don't know how we're going to change that, but that's what we need to work on.
We can do it though. Well, thanks for all the great advice, ladies. I really appreciate it. Up next, we've got a cool mom blogger.